How's it going, everybody? But the crowds found out where he was going, and they followed him, and he welcomed them, and he taught them about the kingdom of God, and he healed those who were sick. Late in the afternoon, the 12 disciples came to him and said, "Send the crowds away to nearby villages so they can find food and lodging for the night. There is nothing to eat here in this remote place." But Jesus said, "You feed them." "But we only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. By the way, we're in Luke 9. "Or are you expecting us to go buy enough food for this whole crowd?" For there were about 5,000 men there. Jesus replied, "Tell them to sit down in groups of 50 each." So the people all sat down. Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up toward heaven and blessed them, then breaking the loaves into the pieces, giving the bread and the fish to the disciples so that they could distribute to the people. And they all ate as much as they wanted. And afterward, the disciples picked up the 12 baskets of leftovers. Peter's declaration about Jesus. One day, Jesus left the crowds to pray alone. Only his disciples were with him, and he asked them, "Who do people say I am?" All right, I can't wait to get the rest of that tomorrow. Now, I will tell you from the bottom of my heart, I do not think any of that was symbolic whatsoever. I think the Lord, with what little food they had, through a miracle that he was able to perform because he was God in the flesh, did feed that many people. Believe it. And now we're going to start Daniel 5. I hope y'all got a lot out of Daniel 4. I enjoyed that one. Always do. I always go back and forth between Daniel and Revelation, the end times prophecy books, Old Testament, New Testament. We know in the New Testament, Jesus said the Antichrist would be here in his own name. What is that? That is, have I forgotten that one already? It's John 5:43, I think. And in Daniel, the Antichrist has a name. He's called the Horn. Jesus said the Antichrist would be here in his own name. A horn is a trump, and a trump is a horn. They're both trumpets. He's here in his own name with his golden penthouse, which was used in the Devil's Advocate. His name was mentioned in the Devil's Advocate. Trump Tower has 5 multiple addresses, 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue, which perfectly match the passage in Daniel about the horn, Daniel 721 through 725. Literally, perfectly matching it. Can't make it up. Daniel 5. Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords. Yeah, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whiles he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father, Nebuchadnezzar, had taken out of the temple, which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Concubines are women the king might have sex with, but not necessarily wives which he's having children with. Then they bought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and the princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised gods of gold and silver and of brass, of iron and wood and of stone. In that same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Now that's where the Addams family gets thing. They're always Hollywood, Mystery Babylon, which runs everything, sports, politics, world leaders. They're all behind this cloak. The head of every country, the head of every movie studio, the head of every newsroom, they're all mystery Babylonians. That's why they're called Mystery Babylon, because they are of a hidden world. If that doesn't make the Bible just light up to be real, I don't know what does. Yet every mystery Babylonian believes the Bible to be false. Go figure. Then the king's countenance, in other words, his face, was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so the joints of his loins loosened, and his knees smote against one another. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing on the wall, show me the interpretation thereof, shall be clothed with scarlet and have a gold chain around his neck, and shall be third ruler in the kingdom. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.